Hi, I'm Thomas Galloway. Today I'm here to guide you on a journey into the endeavors of William Shakespeare and even interview the man himself. The echoes of William Shakespeare's influential songs, books, poems, and plays can still be found in writing and theater today, but his lesser-known criminal past is just as fascinating and should not be forgotten.
So, Mr. Shakespeare, tell me a little bit about yourself.
I was inducted into the Lord Chamberlain's Men, a prestigious English acting group that helped boost my fame and publish my works. Personality-wise, I'm a rather quick-witted and clever for someone who just graduated grammar school. Some of my works that you might have heard of are the tragedies of Macbeth and Hamlet, the comedy The Tempest, one of my personal favorites, and the epic love story of Romeo and Juliet.
How is your relationship with your wife and kids?
I married my wife, Anne Hathaway, who was 26 when I was just 18. Because of my early marriage, I was unable to finish my apprenticeship. Though I had 3 kids, I believe my most well-known son was Hamnet, who I sadly lost in early August of 1596 at the age of 11. One of several famous pieces of literature that I wrote, Hamlet, was inspired by my son. I was in London when my beloved son fell ill, so I would only receive news about his health intermittently, which just increased my feelings of helplessness and anxiety. The passing of Hamlet led to more dispute in an already strained marriage, so Anne and I did not always see eye to eye, to say the least.
How was your early life? What were your parents like? What was your education like?
I, William Shakespeare, am the son of John Shakespeare and Mary Arden. My father was a glove maker and later a local politician. I loved them both very much. I was the third of 8 children, although 3 of my siblings died during childbirth. I attended grammar school in my home village, Stratford-upon-Avon. Only for a short time, but I learned a great deal about English and history. This knowledge influenced and helped me write many of my famous works.
Looking back on your career, do you have any regrets?
In order to further my professional career and support my family, I had to work with some shady characters, such as Phillips Henslow and Francis Langley, both of whom were associated with the mob in London at the time. They used extortion and violence to get money through their works in the theatre. Theatres, though they were a place for art, were also a meeting place for crooks, pimps, and prostitutes. Some have accused me of stealing their work and threatening them, such as William Waite, a violent drunk, and Robert Greene, who, on his deathbed, accused me of cheating him out of his literary property.
Delving further into Shakespeare's past, there are some odd factors. Information on Shakespeare's education is sparse, and historians have found no evidence that he attended a university, which led to some critics questioning the legitimacy of his works. It is speculated that Shakespeare was not happy with his marriage to Anne Hathaway, as Shakespeare immersed himself in theater and even moved to a different town to avoid his wife. It is also speculated that Shakespeare was forced into marriage because of a pregnancy out of wedlock. His own marriage was paralleled in several of his works, as he often paired older women with younger men, just as it was with his own marriage. Shakespeare was fined several times for legal food hoarding, which was ironic because his play Coriolanus was about the rich hoarding grain. Shakespeare's shady past is not just limited to food hoarding, as he had multiple gang affiliations and made multiple death threats to several people. Shakespeare was also quite petty, as he sued 3 people over what would be considered at the time pocket change. However, Shakespeare's several profitable writings and cleverness with money allowed him to retire comfortably at the largest estate in his hometown in 1613. Now you have both sides of the story. Though William Shakespeare was an accomplished playwright and poet who produced countless pieces of influential literature, he also had a malevolent and criminal side that has been less explored. Even though Shakespeare did some awfully sketchy things, such as threaten and cheat other playwrights and hoard food during times of hardship, he molded modern English literature and added over 1,700 new words to the English language. So in conclusion, Shakespeare's life is like a coin. One side of Shakespeare is the triumphant artist whose groundbreaking work and influence on the English language cannot be forgotten or ignored. The other side is that of a tragic criminal who used his intellect and business savvy to lie, cheat, and steal throughout his rise to fame. This rise caused him to miss out on most of his children's and wife's life. While usually only his triumphs are focused on, a coin has two sides, and both must be acknowledged to see the full scope of any person, especially a genius such as Shakespeare.